You're listening to The Takeover for Wellness Wednesdays on Live FM.
Wellness Wednesdays on The Takeover. Brought to you by station sponsor Kelli Naturopath. Book your free discovery call today to uncover better health and quality of life.
Joined by the lovely Kelli Kieselbach here tonight from Kelli K Naturopathy and Nutrition. Kelli, welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
So good to have you back. Last time we had you in for the first Wellness Wednesday, we spoke about post-viral syndrome and kind of overcoming some of those issues like fatigue and brain fog that can stick around or linger after viruses such as COVID and other flu-like symptoms of viruses and things like that. Tonight we're looking at something very different, but I mean it's all related because it's all part of the same body.
Absolutely.
Anxiety and depression. So looking at obviously these are mental health issues, but also that, you know, the physical body can actually support the treatment of anxiety and depression.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and nutrition has a really big part to play in this. There's actually a whole thing of nutritional psychiatry, a whole lot of research going into this now. But there's a few ways. So one way is nutrient deficiencies. So nutrients are the building blocks to the chemicals in our brain and, of course, all the other hormones and enzymes in our body. And when these are deficient or out of balance, they can really drive that anxiety and depression state as well.
So mood can be impacted quite a bit by food and what we're eating and what we're not eating.
Absolutely, yeah. If we're not getting enough of the right nutrients in at the right time, then that's a big problem for our brain and our mood. And then as well as that, we have, if we're eating a lot of sugary foods or refined foods, our blood sugar can go up and down like a seesaw. And if that happens, then our mood tends to also go up and down like a seesaw as well.
Right.
So it's not a great thing, and it can impact anxiety, either make it worse or contribute to it developing as well. So it's one thing to really watch for as well.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And then with that, I want to ask the question because I'm a type 1 diabetic.
Yeah.
Does that impact? Obviously, my sugars are all over the place naturally. Like, no matter what I do, they do have a mind of their own sometimes, and it can be hard to manage them. Does that impact on mood for people who have diabetes?
Yeah, absolutely it can. If it's not well managed or well controlled, people can, I mean, everyone's different. So some people will be very sensitive to it and others might find that it's less impactful, but it absolutely can be an issue.
All right. And then the other thing was inflammation as well can be a big factor. So is that inflammation in the foods we're eating? Is that where inflammation kind of comes from?
Yeah, so I mean, inflammation can come from the type of diet we have. So if you have a SAD diet, a standard Australian diet, where it's very highly...
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Standard
processed.
Australian diet,
Yeah, or standard American diet, whichever way you want to go.
I've never heard of that. That's very fascinating. I love that.
Yeah, so basically a Western diet that's highly industrialised, very processed, low in fruits and vegetables and fresh produce and whole grains. This is considered an inflammatory diet. So it's going to increase the levels of inflammation in your body, but also in your brain as well.
Okay.
And there's a very strong link now between depression and anxiety and inflammation driving those conditions.
Okay, wow. So, definitely diet plays a huge part in anxiety and depression, and I guess the susceptibility of those conditions as well. So if you are someone who struggles with anxiety and depression, diet could be another thing that you can look at, as well as perhaps counselling and medication or whatever it is that you're using to treat the condition. But when we come back, we're actually going to have a look at what the gut has to do with all of this, because we know that there's a huge connection between the brain and the gut, and we're going to be talking about that straight after this. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to Wellness Wednesdays on The Takeover on Life FM. You're listening to The Takeover. Wellness Wednesday time is what we are up to at the moment with Kelli Kieselbach here. She's a nutritionist and naturopath joining us tonight for another Wellness Wednesday. Kelli, welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Tonight we're looking at anxiety and depression, but from a food and diet and physiological point of view, because we know that there's a lot of study obviously around psychology and working with the brain through counselling and different methods like that. But there is also a lot of research that's been done showing that food and diet and nutrition can have a huge impact on our mental health as well. And right now we're going to look at the gut and brain connection, which I know is, one of those Instagram hashtags at the moment, gut-brain connection, because it's such a big thing. So tell us, what is the connection between the brain and the gut?
Yes, so the brain-gut connection, it is a bit of a hot topic at the moment, I think, because there's been so much, a boom of research coming out about it. But basically, there's a few ways where the gut impacts the brain and the brain impacts the gut. So we have what's called the enteric nervous system, and that runs the whole length of our digestive system. So there's all of these, it's very nerve-rich system, and the brain can speak to the gut through those nerve signals, I suppose, and then it goes the other way as well. And part of the way that the communication works between the gut and the brain is through what we call the microbiome. So another fancy word that's very popular at the moment.
I've heard that one. I don't know what it is, but I've heard of it.
Okay. Yeah. So the microbiome refers to the whole host of, basically a huge ecosystem of microbes which live in your gut, and they're supposed to live in your gut. So it incorporates bacteria, viruses, yeast, worms, parasites. Everyone loves to hear that. But yes, we've all got them and we can't live without them. So they're very beneficial to us. And they communicate with our brain through these nerves as well.
Okay.
So it's so important. But unfortunately, the microbiome is also very sensitive to the way we live our lives, like modern life, with our processed foods, not enough fibre in our diet, stress can impact it, alcohol can impact it.
Lack of sleep.
Definitely, for sure. And some medications as well will impact the microbiome and change the way that it works, and therefore the communication between our gut and our brain is altered as well.
Wow. So diet really does have a huge impact, and if the microbiome isn't working properly, those messages between the gut and the brain are not being sent properly, or maybe they're being misinterpreted, I'm guessing as well.
Yeah. So there's that. There's a miscommunication, and there's also an increase in inflammation within the gut, which can lead to damage of the lining of the digestive tract as well. So that means that...
Does not sound like fun.
No, it's not a great situation. It means that, you've got more toxic elements being absorbed into the bloodstream and across the blood-brain barrier, and because of that, then that activates an inflammatory response in the brain as well.
Yeah.
So again, it's connected with the inflammatory side of things, but also the microbiome and that bacteria in its own right can influence our mood and how we feel.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Food for thought. Pardon the pun. But yeah, definitely so much to learn in this area, and I've already learnt so much in just the last couple of minutes. So it's been great having you here tonight again, Kelli, for another Wellness Wednesday. We're going to be catching up with you in a fortnight to look at a different health topic. But if you do have something that you would love Kelli to talk about, or if there's a topic you'd love to hear more about or learn more about, please let us know. You can send us a message on Instagram, 1079 Live, or send us a text, 04 13 90 1079. Kelli Kieselbach, thank you so much.
Thank you.